Okay, so you're going to Auburn, right?
hmm
Okay. And when did you first get there? Like this year?
I got there August 10th,
Okay. Um,
and we didn't fly. We went by car, stopped like 4 times.
okay. And then when did you find out like you tested positive?
August 27th.
Okay. And then what was like the first thing that ran through your head when you like realized like, oh my gosh, I have the virus? Like,
I was actually terrified. Like I was for real scared. Like I cried, um, just because I didn't have. There was no help around. Like every doctor's office, every area I called, they would either turn me away because I was an Auburn student. They would either tell me they had nothing available. So I sat in my dorm room slowly feeling worse and worse. I was scared for my roommate. I was scared for like my friends. I was like, I don't know how long I've had this. And I'm so far from my family. I was just terrified because like the media honestly centralized it way more than like what I ended up experiencing. But I was really, really scared and I felt alone. Uh, got past that though.
so how did you kind of like alleviate the isolating feeling that like comes with being quarantined and everything?
Actually, I got really into, it's going to sound lame, but I got into watching TV shows from my childhood that like our family would watch together because they put Avatar on Netflix. I watched season 1 all the way to season 3 in the span of the 10 days I was in my new dorm. And I called a lot of friends, we talked a lot. But the interesting thing about our isolation dorms was they put all of us in there. Um, and once you stop being contagious, once you stop having symptoms, you're just immune walking around all these other people. There are no RAs, no one came to check on us. So everyone in this hall, everyone in this building would socialize. My best friends ended up also testing positive the day after me. So they showed up and they'd be like, hey, do you want to do homework together? Do you want to come up to our dorm? So I ended up making friends inside of my isolation dorm. I met people.
That's actually really great. Okay, okay. Uh, how did you like inform your school that you had the virus?
Um, they actually, technically, they knew before I did because I finally got testing through the school at a parking garage, like actually a 5-minute walk from here. And so they were like, either you're going to get a link to this website, which will tell you results, or if you test positive, we're going to give you a call. An hour later, I got a call. So I was like, this is it. I know. I got a call saying, you're positive. The school knows, and you are going to start getting information very rapidly on how to move out. Um, so I think I tested positive at 9 a.m. No, I tested at 9 a.m. At 10:30 or 11, I got a call saying you're positive. And from 11 on, I got emails, I got phone calls, I got contacting. A thing called Auburn Cares contacted me and they were like, we are trying to help make sure you get fed, you don't feel isolated, your classes get taken care of. We're gonna try and make this as good a situation as we can. And I personally had to email all my professors though. I had to like let them all know, and every single one of them was understanding. They gave me extensions, they gave me time, gave me extra resources, and that's how that went down.
That's good. I'm glad you got like they were more organized with everything. Um, so do you feel like you were treated well, or do you wish there was anything that like could have been done or done differently, you know?
Um, there were days where I wouldn't get food, and it could have been a worse issue if I didn't have like Grubhub. Uh, but I kind of was like, I want food tonight, and I'm dairy free, so their options for like me were vegan, and they weren't great always. So I just end up like eating whatever snacks I brought. I wish they, instead of like having like somebody to check in on us, or like a doctor to like see people when they weren't feeling good, they had a security guard outside the building. Um, so instead of like a doctor, I got a security guard who would walk around the perimeter of the building 24/7, and they would keep track of people who went in, people who went out, what food services showed up, when people left, when people like moved in, and it felt very prison-like. It felt very like, you've done something bad and you're locked in here. And I was like, great, can I please have tissues? Can I have toilet paper? We ran out of toilet paper very quickly, and you contact maintenance the day I left. They finally filled my request for toilet paper. And I was like, top notch, thank you. Um, I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little bitter at the school. Like, I tested negative twice. A week before I came to Auburn, and then a week after I had been at Auburn. My 14-day mark from when my symptoms appeared was, if I counted 14 days back from when my symptoms appeared, was when I went to our Coliseum for the school-wide testing. I I did not have COVID coming here, and they told me it was safe. They told me like, follow these restrictions, you'll be fine. Did all that. I ended up sick, and I ended up scared and miserable, and I'm a little bitter about that. Like, I really am, because like they told me it was a good idea to come. Every week they're telling us larger and larger numbers of cases. I don't fully believe the numbers sometimes. I think it's more than what they're saying, because like I've met more people from, I live in Boyd Residence Hall. I met more people who lived in Boyd Residence Hall in my isolation dorm than I have in Boyd, because everyone just was there. They were like, are you on the 6th floor? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, I'm your neighbor 3 doors down. And I was like, how long you been here? So I'm a little bitter about that, but they really handled it well, as best they could, with so many cases. I think last week or the week before, they said they tested 500 new positive cases on campus. So they're trying.
Yeah. Was there was the you said you took like several tests. Were the tests like when before you left, were those required by the school? Was it required to get tested before you? Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And the last test you took where you tested positive, was that um was that required, or was it like a thing where it was required only if you felt like you had symptoms after like being at school?
It wasn't required at all. It was just, I wouldn't have gotten help. I would have gotten treatment or like extensions, or just no one would have given like a crap about me if I had not figured out I truly was positive. Like, my fever of 101 and chills definitely said something was wrong with me, but I knew nothing was going to help me until I proved I did have it. So it was actually after a point I was like, I just want the proof. I just want the test, because I'm miserable here. I'm putting so many people at risk. Um, it took a very long time to get the test too. Like, from when I woke up at 8 a.m. From when I woke up at 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. that night, I worked trying to find somewhere that would give me a COVID test. And I ended up getting one by contacting Auburn Medical Clinic Facebook account and saying, I have run out of sources. Can you help me? And a woman came back to me that night, and she's like, hi, I'm the PR woman for the medical clinic, but I'm trying to get as many people tested as positive because our phone lines are overbooked. We don't have enough workers. I can get you a test tomorrow, like 8 a.m. Can you do it? And I was like, yes, I will be there. And she took care of it. I showed up, and she contacted me later the next day and was like, I heard about your tests, and I'm really sorry. But we're going to take care of you. So that was how that happened. No one required me to take a test, but I wasn't going to get anything until I did.
Yeah. What do you feel like was the most important lesson that you learned out of like all of this?
Nothing. Wearing masks, washing hands, distancing does not matter unless we all do it. You cannot be the one person who's like, well, I don't wear mine, because you put other people at risk. You put so many other people into a place where they're scared, where they don't know what to do, because you decide to be that one outlier. If we all don't pay attention to this, nothing's gonna get better. That's really what I learned, because there were so many people I did end up talking to who was like, yeah, I went to parties and I knew I shouldn't have, but, and then I met another girl who was like, I didn't leave my room since I moved in. I was so nervous. I got food deliveries. Then my suite mates tested positive. Then I tested positive. It doesn't matter unless we all work together here. This isn't something you can be the outlier.
Yeah. Would you say that you were taking like this is just so in the story I can say that you said this. So, do you feel like you were taking like every precaution, like wearing masks, washing hands? Do you feel like you did all of that, but it was like because of other people not taking the precautions that caused you to be sick?
I seriously do, because like I can even show you my roommate and we were so lame for like the first like 2 weeks. We did nothing. We wore our masks. We washed our hands. We would not eat out. We'd always have food delivered because we were like, we probably shouldn't go out. Oh, that place has a bit of a crowd. We shouldn't do that. Everything we did was, I have actually exactly 3 friends who I see on a regular basis, and we keep it on our close group. And one of them's my roommate. We did not do crazy things. We stuck to, Auburn even changed their mask policy. I think the second week I was here, they were like, it's not masks indoors anymore. It's masks indoor and outdoors. And me and all my friends went, sure, okay, that's fine. And we followed every rule, every precaution. We listened when they said, don't go to these places, don't party, don't do anything reckless. We followed that, and we still ended up in a bad situation. My roommate never got it though. She tested 3 times after my positive test over the span of like 2 weeks. She never tested positive. She was immune, we think, which is really great. But the doctor she talked to said, I probably got it from touching something and then touching my face, like taking off my mask when I would get back to my room. So it's most likely I got it from pushing a button in my elevator, maybe opening a door, and then I got home, took off my mask. Stuff like that. But yeah, no, I did everything. I want everyone to know.
Were there any like does Auburn have like a organized rule kind of thing about going in? You have in-person classes, right?
A couple, yeah.
So like those are, do they have like a lot of people or like a few, and then like how is it handled?
I know it's interesting because I have some classes that say we can have 30 people, but there has to be like 10 feet apart. You're all separated. That's for like my lectures. I don't go to those. I'm in a technical theater class, which is in person. we all wear masks, we all do hand sanitizer, but because it's hands-on work, distancing sometimes doesn't happen. And it's something I've noticed. Like, we have to walk through doorways. We get closer, and I'm like, okay, we're a little close. I think that class is like 7 people, so it's really small, but I have a lab, which is in person, and it is 20 people at one, you know, the size of the lab desks in the back of like classrooms like biology or chemistry at Vandergrift, and they have those big tables with the sinks. 20 people at tables that size, one person per table. So they have distancing, they have mask policies, but I've noticed the school has never enforced punishment for not wearing masks. You may not be allowed in the building, but there's no repercussions. So it does sometimes is like, I'm outside, I don't need to wear it. I'm eating on the front lawn of like the quad, I don't have to. Stuff like that. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay, I have like one more question for you, but I'm gonna talk to Emerson first, and then I'll come back and like ask both of you the same question. Okay, so when did you find out that Elle had the virus?
Um, I'm pretty sure it was the 27th or the 28th because I knew like my family, they were like they were keeping it from me because whenever I'm like told like very overwhelming information, I'm a very emotional and sensitive person. So they knew if they just told me up front like Elle has COVID, I would have probably broken down into tears, not gonna lie. Um, but they told me on like the 28th, I think, and I handled it okay, but I was scared and it just didn't feel real almost. It was like, this isn't happening because I know Elle always takes precaution. Elle is always like the person like, let's not go out today. Let's like, yeah. So it was weird and it was scary. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What did it feel like to know that like your sister, I'm guessing you lived together for like most of your life since you're sisters. So like how did you feel when you found out that she had COVID and she was so far away, like you just couldn't see her like that?
It was I was sad and I was scared almost because like I I just always want to reach out to people like whenever they're in a bad place and be like, are you okay? So when Elle got sick, I was constantly being like, hey, you want a FaceTime call? Hey, you want to talk? Hey, you want to get a call with friends and all that? Like I was constantly like reaching out because I wanted to know that she was okay because I was just like scared.
Yeah. So I mean, you kind of already answered this, but um was there any other way that like you kept in touch with her, like other than FaceTiming or like texting? Was there any other like way that you guys kept contact?
If I may jump in, we would send each other on Instagram. We'd send each other memes and like posts, and that would be an entire form of conversation for days.
Yeah, we would send each other memes.
So how do you think like you would feel if you like there wasn't technology or like social media to like keep up with her, and you just had the information that she had was sick, but you weren't?
Oh my god, I would be a very much like a panicking mess almost because Elle and I were real close and like I look up to Elle. She's like yeah, my like role model. I look up to you, yeah. Um, so like I would definitely be like way more scared and like way more just anxiety filled.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Did you did you ever see this coming where you like, oh, she's going off to college, there's gonna be like a lot of people. Did you expect this to happen or what?
I honestly did not expect it to happen because of just how like precautious is a word, right?
Yeah.
Yes. How just like precautious Elle was. Like just knowing like she would always sanitize her hands, always had the mask on, always distance. Like if there were other people on the sidewalk with her who didn't have masks, she would try to inch away from them.
Yeah.
Like I would know that that was a thing. So like I never really thought it would happen to her.
Yeah. Um, what other like did y'all ever have like a group call like with any old friends or anything? And then what was what was it like to kind of be able to connect with all the people like, that you care about?
It was really nice. We actually had a group FaceTime call with our next door neighbors, the Sandals. And we've known them for like 7 or 8 years. And we are best friends with the children, Sam and Reese. And we just have like this little pact together called Sandman. And so just we would constantly like it was like an every Saturday thing. We would have a FaceTime call with them. And it was really nice. It was really fun. Yes. So, yeah. It was really nice, really fun, and it did lift Elle's spirits. I know that. Because like we were all like, "Hey, we care for you. We're here." I'm pretty sure she took a nap one time on the call, but
In my defense, before you ask another question, I would sleep days away. I would wake up some days, drink water, and just fall back asleep. I could not stay awake.
Yeah. What do you feel like was like the most important lesson or like something, that you learned during this experience, like for your own personal mindset, I guess?
I would guess my own personal lesson. I'm still like thinking, I'm sorry. Um Constantly reach out to people and like check in with them and stay safe and don't go anywhere that you know is crowded. Like I know I already do like, like I keep my mask on, I wash my hands. I don't go out that much. But just other people really need to start implementing that in their now daily life because it was scary even on my end when Elle got COVID because just this is a pandemic. People are getting sick and it just started this year and we don't have a vaccine yet. And it's just it's scary and people need to wash their hands, put their mask on, just stay away from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I kind of have a question for like both of y'all. I kind of want both of your perspectives on this. How do you feel like, do you feel like this experience made y'all like stronger as sisters, or like how do you think your relationship has changed or like transformed after this time?
I can have Elle go first.
I'm gonna be honest. We have been close all our lives. We rarely have issues nowadays. We are super close, which is like a good thing. I know it doesn't happen for like kids our age, but there's something we've always been really good friends with each other. I'm gonna go ahead and say I've always been like, I really took the big sister role. I always look after Emerson. I take care of her. I'm like, I will kill you if you mess with my sister kind of thing. And for once in my life, it was my little sister not just being like, are you okay? Being like, hey, what do you need? What can I do? It feels like I'm watching her grow up. Like, this is her first year, like, alone in the house. She's in high school now. She's doing all these things, and she was the one trying to look after and make sure I was okay, check up on me, do things to help. She's an early bedtime girl. Like, that girl like goes to bed at like 8. She stayed up on a call with me till midnight talking about like fruits and vegetables, like anything that crossed our minds. She was like, hey, what else do you want to talk about? And I was like, you're staying up late for like someone who wakes up at like 6 a.m. So she really did like what she could from home. And I think I watched her grow, and I felt like I could really rely on her. That was something I noticed.
Yeah.
Emerson, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I really think like the roles of what like we usually were, like Elle was big sister and she like protects, and I was just like younger, like little baby. Like they really were kind of just switched because I knew Elle couldn't do much, and so I wanted to be there, and I wanted to be like, what do you need? Are how are you doing? How was your day? Like, I just care about my big sister a lot, and I just wanted to protect her almost. So yeah.
Okay, do either of y'all have any other things to add, not just to the question, but just to the entire interview as a whole?
I'm gonna go ahead and say, because we didn't really talk about it, my symptoms were completely, I was fine going to bed Tuesday night. There was nothing abnormal about me. I woke up that Wednesday morning and I immediately knew something's wrong with me.
Yeah.
So don't really dismiss things. Like, you should still be very cautious because you really never know.
Yeah.
It like appeared out of nowhere, and everything got worse like hour by hour.
Yeah.
Don't be freaked out by everything the media says, unless you really have had lung conditions, unless you really have like something pre-existing that hurts you. I basically had the flu and I lost my sense of smell for like a week and a half. That was also, some symptoms came late, some symptoms never came. I was like, you know what, I think I'm good. And then I realized I can't smell this jar of peanut butter at all. There's something that's not right. So you're not going to get everything. Some things aren't going to be as bad as you think. There's one outstanding thing though. I can't walk long distances. I can't do stairs repetitively without feeling completely winded, like my lungs are burning. It's a thing, and I don't know really how to fix that. I'm not No one really knows how to help there. You're okay. But that is like, that's something that might be with me my whole life. So consider that when you decide, hey, let's go out. I can't take like 7 flights of stairs now, so consider that just in the long run.
Okay, is there anything else that y'all want to talk about or anything?
I miss you. You look good.
Thanks.
Good for you. Be on the newspaper team.
Woo! We love it.
Okay, thank you so much. Like,